Welcome to the LA Business Podcast, a forum for business owners and senior executives to share the experiences about the elements that drive their success. Your host is Robert Brill, CEO of Brill Media.co, an Inc. 500 company delivering the power of hyperlocal advertising. Robert writes for Forbes, Inc., and ad trade publications. Our goal is to bring you the stories about successes and failures of people who are making big things happen in marketing, entrepreneurship, and management.
Hey everyone, before we get started with this episode of the LA Business Podcast, we have a little bit of a change of venue. We recorded these episodes live at the Social Media Marketing World Conference in San Diego, California. And I met some really interesting people, and I recorded these episodes live because I wanted to hear their stories and I wanted to bring them to you. So I hope you enjoy the podcast and I hope you enjoy the episode, and I hope you can forgive the sound quality that you might hear, the background noise. All right, here we go. Welcome to another episode of the LA Business Podcast. Today our guest is Mike Watts, founder and CEO of Love Handle. And Mike has a fantastic product. It's a handle for your mobile device. And I've been using it over the last few days here at Social Media Marketing World, and I love it. Mike, thanks for being on the show.
My honor, Robert. Thanks for having me.
So, Mike, tell us about Love Handle. How did you come up with the inspiration for this product? Tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah. Well, I've become a serial entrepreneur, as it were, and I've got 3 consecutive multi-million-dollar startups, all based around consumer products. And I've always been on the hunt for products that could deliver massive amounts of value because they address a problem that's across the largest part of humanity. And the smartphone has become the most common piece of our daily lives. And they didn't really think about how to interact the phone, a thin piece of fragile glass, with our human hand in any way for ergonomics. And when we discovered the Love Handle, I knew that was it. I knew that this was a product that would solve a problem for an innumerable number of people. And so we partnered with the original inventor and licensed his patents. And so that's been my sort of model. I've licensed 3 patents over the span of the last 12 years and brought them all to become multi-million-dollar companies and brands.
So this is not your first rodeo?
Not my first rodeo.
Okay. So when we talked, you've been experiencing some substantial growth in your business. How do you measure success of your business, and give us whatever metrics that you think are important for us to know about how you measure growth?
Yeah. So we're looking at, first and foremost, we always look at our customer satisfaction and our reorder rate. Our reorder rate is the most important statistic that we care about, because it means that not only was the product good, but the interaction with our company was good. A big part of our businesses is B2B. So companies will place their brand on the phone grip and then give it out at a trade show or to their key clients, and then then the product gets seen. But the key is that we've treated their logo with care, that they treated their expectations with care, and delivered a product that's helping them to multiply their value. They're going to invest a few dollars into this product. We want to make sure that they're getting 10x back out of it, and so it's a win-win between the 2 companies.
Amazing. What do you think, this podcast is really about growth and scaling a business, right? Like, I'm on the mission to find all the intricacies of growing and scaling a business. It's a selfish ask because I also am growing and scaling my business. So let's start with this. What are the learnings that you had from your other businesses that you brought into this? Like, is there anything that you did exponentially fast in this business because of a learning you had from a prior business?
I think that, yes, there were some things that we did fast, but didn't actually help me in some of the ways, right? I had been very successful with infomercial marketing, putting my products on TV. Late night, couldn't sleep at night, you're probably going to see one of my products out there. And when I launched Love Handle, I was full of ego. I had just sold a company for $6 million and was pretty sure I could take any great product, plug it into my system, my proven formula, and it would work. I would go make it in China, I would put it on television, produce an infomercial, orders would come flooding in. And so I got a little ahead of myself. I ordered a $500,000 of product from China. I spent $300,000 on a television advertising campaign, shot a great commercial without ever testing it.
For love handles?
For love handles, yeah. This was 6 years ago.
6 years, okay, so 2013.
Mm-hmm. And the problem was that it didn't translate on TV. It was too inexpensive and didn't work. Plus, the Chinese cut some corners and caused me to have to destroy all the product that they had sent me. So I literally pushed $500,000 of product in the dump, lost all my money on TV, and then we got slapped with a lawsuit because somebody thought our logo looked too close to theirs.
No.
That was my experience right out of the gates with Love Handle. And where most people would have maybe given up at that point. And I think that my experience in my previous businesses helped me to have the resolve that I would need to push through that and to believe that the product is good. And yes, bad things happen, but they happen for a reason. And so it encouraged me and sort of forced me into finding a way to make our products in America.
So you would go, so looking back on it, you'd go a little slower?
Go a little slower.
You test the product from China, maybe test multiple suppliers?
Yeah, so on the supply side, definitely have more specific, tangible measurements around the performance of the product. Some very specifics around the components that are going to be used in it. And then additionally to look at, is this going to sell on TV? Or is the demand going to ramp up as quickly as I think? Instead of me just thinking it, I should have tested it, and then I would have known and could have saved myself a whole lot of pain and heartache.
And challenges to your mindset, I imagine, was part of that. I guess that's encapsulated in the heartache part of it. So how did you recover? So you did this in what, like 2013?
Yeah, 2014.
2014, sorry, can't do that.
2014 and 2015 was kind of this time frame when all this happened. Around 2016, we decided to regroup and start to work on finding a piece of the business that was working well and do more of that while we figured out what our next move would be. And so what we did is we focused on promotional products. The companies that had bought the product from us with their logo on it were elated with it, wanted to reorder more, and that was a very consistent theme. And I said, okay, well, how about we just decide to be the best at that for now? We can take on retail later, we can take on TV or what would become Instagram marketing later, but right now, let's be the best at providing marketers a physical tool to promote their brand with.
So, okay. So would you describe that act of finding the right fit? Would you call that product market fit? Because like you had something, you're like, okay, I have the imagination, I see the vision for this, but the way I was going to market with it wasn't working. And then you found that business to business marketing for you is the right way to go. So, okay. I love that. I think that's fascinating. I think a big challenge, because we're responsible for making businesses work, scale, grow, like with our advertising campaigns. And I think sometimes some of our smaller clients need to take a step back and ask, like, is the thing that we have interesting for the people we think it is interesting to? Right. And I think you went through that with a big number and a lot of heartache. Okay, so you identified your market, you know who loves it, and then how did you grow this thing?
So from that point, we figured out that we needed to be, in our own blue ocean, if you will, and we started investing in automation. So we developed our own automation equipment to be able to manufacture this product at scale to compete against the low labor costs overseas, be able to do it with American employees and American components. And so we had to struggle around to try to find the textiles, which are very few in America left, that could produce our elastic that we need, and then build the internal structure to be able to build this at scale. And it was really cool because we basically have created partnerships with inventors. So inventors typically are a certain personality type. They're tinkerers. They like to just be in the shop. They want to make stuff better and fix it. They don't necessarily want to be at a trade show or answering customer service phone calls or deciding the best version of the packaging. That's what I love. And so by partnering together, the inventor can then go back and be their best self in the workshop. And so that's exactly what happened. Our inventor, we leaned on him and said, hey, do you think you can build this equipment that we need? And I said, absolutely, I can build it. And so he invented the automation equipment that we use today, built it out of 80/20 rods and Arduino circuits and stuff that's way over my head. But it allowed us to produce now where we can produce over 50,000 units every day, completely custom. We have 32 full-time employees, and the ability to react quickly to the market and have, with our retail program, we can have things that are on trend. So like right now, one of the most popular prints we have is for Kobe Bryant, right? So, but
the licensing, I mean, that's challenging. I'm a big Dodgers fan.
Yep.
So like, do you have a Dodgers like thing?
We have some licenses. We don't have all the licenses.
Right.
We would like to have. Some of them are very expensive. We will eventually. So we kind of pick and choose them as we go. We want to make sure there's a demand for it. But there's plenty of other examples that you can, just be on trend with what's hot now. And when you're sourcing products from China, you have to, plan 6 months or a year in advance. And sometimes you don't know what's going to be popular. And even if you do know, you don't know how many you're going to need. So it's like throwing a lawn dart 6 months out. Where's it going to land? And versus now, we literally build our product as we go. And it's a very strong business model. I can do a batch of 5, or I can do a batch of 500,000, and very quickly.
So I imagine there's a lot of application. I mean, we're at social media marketing world. I have one on my thing on my phone that says SME, #SME chat, because I participated in that meetup. So very custom. So I imagine for the influencers, for the TikTokers. Are you on TikTok by any chance?
We are, yeah. We're at the Love Handle.
The Love Handle. So there's this one TikTok of Margot, the little lizard, or it's not a lizard, a chameleon or something. This young girl, my name is Margot, not something.
Oh,
so
yeah, right.
I love that. I think, and that woman, she's a young woman. She's totally having a moment. She's totally got the personality for it. I think her name is Riley Hawk, because I somehow she showed her name on it. This woman is totally having a moment. She's got like 2 million followers, and she's totally riding it. And now what I noticed is she has a store on Insta. It's something about a store. She's selling branded products, right? I'm like, wow, this would be a fantastic. You could totally react to that if you can fit it on the size of this. What would you call this? A band?
Yeah, the elastic.
The elastic band. There's no end in sight to the types of places this could go, and it's so niche.
Right.
That's amazing.
And then my bigger dream here is to create Love Handle so that it's not a product, though we do have some amazing sort of iterations coming out later. But really, I want it to be more of a platform.
What is that? That's interesting. WeWork, you can argue, was a social network.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, how does that look?
So what I'd like it to do, I see that this product, if you're custom printing anything, right, a t-shirt or whatever, it's an expression of yourself, right? And so if I can create a platform where artists or nonprofits or people with a cause or a mission or whatever can use my product to raise money or to raise awareness or to further their cause, then that will be of greater value than being able to not drop your phone would be. And so what we're doing is we're seeking collaborations with influencers, particularly influencers that are doing good in the world. So we partnered recently with the National Arthritis Foundation, and we then find influencers that are afflicted with arthritis and that are telling their story. And then we let them use our product as a vehicle to spread the word, right? So
like an icebreaker.
Right, yeah.
So the point is, it's the communication in the current state would still come with this, would still be facilitated as this elastic band and strap and whatnot, but is that it? Is that the vision?
Right, but if it's a platform, right? So it's a place that, yes, that's maybe the thing that brings the people there, but it's a place where they can go on and tell their story, about what life is like with arthritis.
Got it.
Right? And explain to the world like how they're living through it. And yeah, this product is great functionally for it, but it's a place where they get to share their story. And the more that it can be that, for me, the more successful I think we're going to become.
Got it. It's amazing. So I like that, creating community around specific topics. So tell us some of the tactics or strategies you've been deploying that have been a direct result in your growth. I mean, you're at this trade show, you're exhibiting. You mentioned Instagram. Like, what's working for you to grow your business?
Well, I think one unique thing that we do that I've never seen anyone else do. And specifically here, this is a social media marketing conference. This is not a swag conference, right? It's not what it's about. But we make this promotional product. But for us, what we do is we show up here and we have these custom pre-printed for every other exhibitor and sponsor here. They don't know we're coming with them, but they're our customer too. So Agora Pulse is inside. Last year at the show, I had Agora Pulse love handles that I showed up with. Met the owner, gave them to him, he fell in love with it. A week later, I get an order on my website. Now, since then, they've reordered lots of times. And so it's that thoughtfulness of somebody showing up with a gift with your logo on it that breaks down any barrier they might have of somebody walking up to them trying to sell them something.
Right.
The gift is going to overcome that. And that's sort of the nature of the product too. But it's guerrilla marketing is saying, okay, I'm going to be at this trade show, but how can I maximize everything about every minute that I'm here in preparing for the big investment that it is to be here, and convert that back into value for the company.
Are you familiar with Robert Cialdini? He's an author. He wrote 2 books. One about influence. I think it's just called Influence, and the other one is called Persuasion.
Oh, no, I have read that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're 100% deploying that tactic, like you give somebody something and they more or less are indebted to you. In the best possible way. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but you've already created goodwill with zero expectation, right? You just want to give them something, and I think that's an interesting ethos that I think further gets personified in the larger aspirations you have for your business, the community building, the communications. It's great.
Yeah, you definitely need to be of a giving mindset, I think, to find true success. If you come in there saying, how can I make a lot of money? Well, that's going to be a hindrance to you. It's going to be a limiting factor. And it's also going to keep you from being able to get up out of bed in the morning at some point. Even if you get a lot of money, there's no value to yourself and your soul.
Yeah, you got to find, it's interesting. I started this business because I knew that I wanted an opportunity to do things my way and to build a business. And in one particular conversation my wife and I had, or I heard, I don't know where it came from. I was like, look, if you're going to be 80 on your deathbed, you will regret not scratching that itch, like trying to figure it out.
Yep.
And now over that journey, I knew I wanted to do this for selfish reasons. I wanted the experience. I wanted to build a business. There's all these things. But what I found over these years, which I've been paying attention to, is who am I serving? It's a service mindset, and it's for us, it's primarily small and mid-sized businesses, giving them the ability to compete directly to even the playing field, to democratize access to the best tools and data.
Right.
But yeah, it's finding that mission is incredibly important. And without it, if your goal is to make money, you got to be passionate about what you do. Right. And it's clear that you've found it and you're a serial entrepreneur. Yeah. You mentioned Instagram. Are you selling, I presume, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're selling to business owners on Instagram? Yes?
Yeah, both. At Business Grant, we have a very strong B2B and also a B2C market.
Oh, really?
We do more B2C on Instagram. We do more B2B on LinkedIn.
Interesting. And so, what does like 2020 and 21 look like for your business? What are your goals?
We have some big goals, both in community, but really around getting our product available as many places as possible. So 2020 this year is really themed around retail. So just yesterday we launched our product into Walmart, which was a big achievement for us to be able to get our product in the largest brick and mortar retailer in the country.
And in Walmart, what are you selling? Like, I know you're selling these, but like, what's the imagery on it?
So it's just a variety. There's like a serape print, and there's a leopard print, and there's just a plain black, and then camouflage and American flag. So people can kind of pick whatever style they have. We have hundreds and hundreds of styles at lovehandle.com or in stores too. Little boutiques are Ace Hardware just started stocking it. We're doing a test with CVS this week. We're talking to Best Buy. Like it's starting to happen because it's just that useful of a product. We have like over 5,000 5-star reviews on Amazon now, and it takes time. So anybody out there that's starting a company and who can't be impatient, you have to be patient, and it's going to make sure that whatever it is you're developing and working towards, that there's going to be a market for it in 5 years. Because it's going to take you about that time to sort of reach critical scale. So you don't want to build for today and find yourself in 5 years where the market's completely changed and passed you by. So we feel like now is our moment in time. There's been some other products that have come out on the market that sort of validated the idea that you would stick something on your phone at all. But we feel like our product's superior, and the market's telling us that's true. And so as retailers sort of take it on and make it pervasive everywhere, and we can become a household brand, like a fellow Texas company, Yeti, right?
I love Yeti. That was my, yes, I love Yeti. I love those cups. That was my promotional gift.
Right.
This holiday season.
And they started with an ice chest. That's bear proof. That's where they began. It was a bear proof ice chest. And then they expanded the cups. And then now they have Yeti on everything, right? So they sort of broke through their wall with their one great item, and then went from there. So I hope that we can sort of follow that same model, take our one product, break through, make it, loved, and then the world will say, what else can you bring us? And then now, look, we can bring all these really useful gadgets to you and impact humans in a way that's just day in and day out. No matter where they're at, they're probably touching one of our products or using one of our products, and they're doing it by choice because it makes their life better.
So my challenge, my one of the challenges that I see is that no one knows that this is, if you're not listening to this podcast and you're not at this conference, they don't know that this is a Love Handles product. So I presume it has to be a little bit of word of mouth to kind of bridge the gap between this is cool and where do I get it?
Right.
Or are you going to rely on retail? Like how I meet someone, how do we bridge that gap? How do they know where to find these things? Do you brand Love Handles aggressively, or are your ads primarily sales? Like, how does that, there's a challenge there, I think.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's probably maybe my next chapter is to figure that out.
Right.
As an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to go into a dark room that you're not sure how it's going to shake out. And I still feel that way, especially around social. But I think everybody else does too. So there's some comfort there. But for us, it's 5 years ago when we started the reshoring process, we said, okay, what's the one thing that works in marketing for us? And it was putting product on people's phones. If I could give this to someone, put it on their phone, they're going to tell everyone around them, and everyone around them is going to ask about it. What is it? And so as long as I gave it to that person, they knew the brand name, that it would do its job. That the few dollars it cost me to get that on their phone was going to be the most effective deployment of my resources versus any sort of advertising or collaborations or anything we could do. And so we've given away over 2 million of these grips since day one. And that has continued to be the most successful way for us to brand, is to put them out there. And yeah, our brand name is, under the base.
Oh, it is? Right? I didn't realize that.
So,
okay.
So everybody that pays me to put their logo on here is also advertising for me.
I did not even got it.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so 2 final questions. I'm a massive foodie, And my question to you is, you're in Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I clearly see you travel all over the place. Where do you like to eat? What city in Texas are you in?
I'm in Houston, Texas.
Okay, cool. Great steak. I love the steak in Houston.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you like? If I go to Houston or anywhere else, like what should I be eating?
So you should go down to Pearland to Killen's Barbecue, Killens Barbecue.
Okay.
And the chef there was trained at Cordon Bleu. He gets the best beef from the best herds out there, so he's sourcing great product. And the guy knows what he's even chooses the trees and the wood very, very carefully about how he smokes the meats. And he does a beef rib there that will just make you want to cry. It's so good. So I highly recommend there. Of course, last night we ate at Nobu here in San Diego. Always a treat, very different from that. But if you're in Houston, you definitely need to go to Killen's Barbecue. It's worth the effort.
I love it. How can people find you and Love Handles?
So I am on all social platforms. On Instagram, I'm most active. I'm at Mike Watts. And on LinkedIn, just look up Mike Watts. I'm trying to create more content on there. For Love Handle, just visit lovehandle.com. We're at Love Handle on Instagram.
No S. I've been pronouncing
No
it
S. Yeah.
Love Handle in the singular.
In the singular, that's right. You know, it's early on when I was choosing the brand name, and I think that branding is so important, and you need to choose your brand name wisely because it needs to be something that's memorable, right? So Love Handle is obviously memorable. I had to buy the domain from the guy that owned it at the time. He wanted $60,000. I ended up getting it for $3,000. We were able to get our on Instagram because we had filed for trademarks and got our trademarks issued, and then submitted that to Instagram, and they gave it to us. And so it's once you can establish yourself in a brand like that, you need to try to get every new social platform that comes out. We're out there trying to get the ad for it, and it's really, really important because that consistent recognition of your brand on all platforms really translates over time to people being able to remember when the right moment comes up, they'll remember your brand. Okay. Love Handle on all social. And you can transact through Instagram and the website, I presume. Great product. I love this. Mike, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Robert. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the LA Business Podcast. If you like what we're doing on this podcast, please consider subscribing on Apple or Google Play, leaving a 5-star review, and sharing with your friends. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations for a guest you'd like to hear on this podcast, please email me, robert@brillmedia.co. Thank you. Have a fantastic day.